About 6 years ago, I made a 180 career change. And so in this episode, I'm going to break down what that actually looked like, where I was before the career change and where I am now. So hopefully demystify the process and make a career change for you feel a lot more possible because you can actually see what a real one is like. My name's Mabel, and I help passionate, awesome neurodivergent women change careers to find something they actually want to wake up to in the morning. So if that is you, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and let's do this. So, this episode is going to be a bit more just kind of like a story, me telling you how things were for me, and hopefully you being able to get some tips and advice for your story too. So, grab a cup of coffee, get cozy, and I'm going to start about 8 years ago now when I went to college. And this is kind of the first piece in the puzzle because I went to business school just because I liked entrepreneurship. I liked saving my receipts, and I was really in, kind of wanted to stay on track with everything that I spent. And so I was like, okay, I guess I should go to business school. And this is the first thing that I think for a lot of people, they go to college and they pick a degree which is going to massively influence their career without that much real life information of what that career is actually going to be like. Before I went to business school, I didn't do any research talking to people who worked in businesses, finding out what their career was actually like. And so that's the first thing that I wish we could have more of for young people going into school. But if you're someone like me who went to school, studied a degree, but then pretty soon coming out of that degree realized you didn't want to work in that industry. And for me, that was realizing I didn't want to work in corporate business. Um, I feel you and you're not alone. This is a huge thing. So if that's you, just want to validate, that's normal. So I went to business school and then I graduated business school and I went into a businessy job. I went into a business development job and the company was really nice. It was lovely people, but it just wasn't my home. The job wasn't using skills that I was good at. I didn't look forward to going to work in the morning. And a really big thing was I didn't feel in my confidence. I felt like I wasn't doing something that I was naturally good at. And so I felt kind of bad at my job. And that made me feel bad in myself. Like it made me doubt my skills, doubt what I was good at. And so I knew that I needed to do something different, but I didn't know what that was. And so I started just by exploring things. I'd come home after work, I get a big piece of paper, and I started just spider diagramming. Okay, what gives me energy? Like, what do I really enjoy? And I got super random. Like, it wasn't just career related stuff. I was like, well, dancing brings me joy, and having deep, meaningful conversations brings me joy. And I actually just started following like my joy and the things that energized me. And so from doing that, I found that I really enjoyed professional development, personal development, that kind of stuff. And so I started getting really into those books. I then still didn't know what I wanted to do, but I just felt like it was the right time to leave my job. And so I quit that job, not really with a plan of what to do. And while traveling home from that job, I was working in Bulgaria at the time. And so while traveling home from Bulgaria, I listened to this book that was a self development book, and I learned about this thing called coaching. And in that moment, for me, it was like a light bulb moment. And now I do this with my clients all the time. And it's definitely not a light bulb moment for everyone. But for me, it really was. I was like, you can get paid to do that. Like, you can get paid to help people figure out what they want to do and take action on it and, do the things they really want to do in the world. I was like, that sounds so cool. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So at the time, it was called life coaching. And so I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, but I have no idea how to actually make it happen. I kind of had my goal, but it still felt scary because no one in my family had ever started a coaching business before. People didn't really know what advice to give me. And so I started reaching out to coaches and getting advice from them. And that kind of led me to the path of getting certified as a coach. So I went back to school part time while I was working, just doing like, I was doing a waitressing job and then I was doing a tour guiding job. And so I was doing that on the side while I went back to school for coaching. And so the first kind of big thing that I had to come up against was that I kind of left this good, it wasn't corporate, but like good, stable business job to go back to school and waitress and be a tour guide. And some people didn't like that, but I knew that it was what I wanted to do. I knew that I wasn't at home in like the more corporate business world. And so I followed it, even though it was a little bit scary. Went to coaching school. And then when you're a coach in coaching school, you realize pretty quickly that the main way to make a viable career in coaching is to have your own business. And so once I'd finished coaching school, I set up my own business. And I've always been someone that's really passionate about careers. And so I was like, well, it just makes sense to set up a business helping other people find careers that they really love, because that was something I was super passionate about. So I was like, okay, I'll start a business. And the first thing I did is I was like, well, if I'm going to help people in career change, I need to know how to do that. And so I kind of put together everything that I had practiced in my own career change. Luckily, the coaching program that I was doing specialized in career change too. So I used some of those tools, used some of my own experience, studied other tools, and put this all together into a career change method. So I was like, it would be really cool if there was a roadmap and a path that people could actually go down. That has the specific steps of career change, because typically in society we don't have that. We just have to kind of figure it out along the way. And so I was like, okay, I have this method. I need to test it to see if it actually works. So I took on 6 pro bono clients and tried this method with them. Got to the end of it. I was like, sweet, this works. This is helpful. So then I launched my coaching business, and that was in 2020. So it was the end of 2020. Launched my coaching business, and not much happened. Not that many people reached out. I was like, okay, first big challenge. And one thing that I have learned along this career journey is, typically, I think the bigger your ambitions, the kind of higher you want to go, the more challenging it is to get there. And so eventually I had a couple clients coming in, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And I found this really great business coach to help me. And that was really good. That really helped me lay the foundations for just how to put the best program together, how to best support people, but also how to actually charge a viable rate so that I could make this a business that gave me a living. And that was really helpful. And then I was able to build this business a little bit bigger. I also got some opportunities to do some other work. So I started mindfulness teaching, and I still do that. And I really love that. So I get to have this variety now where I do coaching, but I also teach mindfulness. And so that was what I did for a few years. I taught mindfulness, and so that was what I did for a few years. I taught mindfulness, and then I had this coaching business helping people with career change. And then I started to notice that the majority of my clients were neurodivergent. Like about 70% of them had ADHD, or ADHD and autism, or dyslexia. And I noticed that people were looking for support in this thing, in the challenges that they face being neurodivergent, but I didn't quite feel like I had the skills to support them. So I was like, okay, I want to specialize in this. And so then I switched to specializing mostly in neurodivergence. And that's been really cool. That's felt like a focus that I've enjoyed a lot, that I'm super passionate about. And so that's where I'm at now. I have this business where I coach mostly neurodivergent women, women with ADHD and autism, dyslexia. And it is awesome. I get to work with the coolest people, the most creative people. And now typically I work with them through career change. So if you're in that place where you're like, I do not know what I want to do with my life. I know that I don't like my job right now, but I don't know what I want to do. And sometimes I do work with clients on a more ADHD kind of organizational coaching basis. So those people who maybe they're okay in their career, but their life feels a bit of a mess and they want to get more organized, and that. So that's kind of where I'm at in my career now. And that's kind of my story of how I got there. So if I was to summarize what I've learned from my career, these are a couple of the main things. The first one is that it really took me exploring, getting out into the world and kind of learning what I enjoyed to discover the career that was right for me. I always think if I hadn't gotten really into self development and started reading all of these books, I wouldn't have discovered that this thing called coaching exists. And so go out into the world and follow what you're passionate about, follow what you're interested in. And I truly believe that will lead to career options that will work really well for you. The second thing that I learned is that talking to real people is an invaluable way to learn about industries, to learn about opportunities, and just to learn about whether a job would be right for you. Talking to coaches and learning about what the reality of a coaching business is actually like was so helpful, because the reality of a coaching business is that you really have to have your own business to make it a career that's viable, where you're really going to earn any money. And that is an important thing to know before you go and study coaching, because you may not be someone who wants to be self employed. So, talking to people, learning from them is one of the best things you can do. The third thing I learned, this is kind of more of a belief of mine, maybe, is that the more ambitious you are with your career, like the bigger you want to go, the more challenges you're going to run into, the more you're going to doubt yourself, but the more you just have to keep going through it. And I do think that's important to notice and just remember when you have these big, ambitious goals and you want to do something that maybe not many people have done, maybe where the path isn't that clearly defined. Part of that process is going to be like freaking out a bit along the way and going, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do it. It's so hard. And that's okay. And then the fourth thing that I learned is that your career is going to continue to grow and change throughout your life as you do. I didn't start off as a coach who focused on neurodivergence, but that's where I am now, and I absolutely love it. And so expect your career to grow and change as you do. That's kind of what makes it fun, that you get to continue developing and specializing and following what you enjoy. Your career isn't static, it's going to keep on moving and keep on growing and keep on changing. And that's okay. It's just normal and part of the process. So I really hope this episode was helpful. One, just to get to know me a little bit more and know my story, but also then to transfer that to how you could make your own career change. I hope that there were bits of information in here that were useful to you, that you can apply to go and make a really successful career change yourself. And of course, if you're really serious about making a career change, if you're in a job right now where you just know it's not what you want to do in your heart, you know that there are bigger, more aligned things you could be doing, and you don't want to have the Sunday scaries, you want to wake up feeling excited in the morning, then I have two things that you can do. One, you can go ahead and you can download the free training that's listed below. That training is my favorite training that I have ever created, that walks people through the entire career change process. It's a really big, weighty training. It has loads of really good information in it, because it has a few action steps that you can take on every single step in the process. So you really get an idea of, okay, what does the process of career change actually look like? So definitely go ahead and download that. And then if you're interested in more one on one support, go ahead and book a free discovery call with me. It's 30 minutes. And on that call, we'll chat a bit more about exactly what you're looking for and figure out what you need to make your own successful career change. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon.